all home inspectors are the same. One of the things I do that most home inspectors don't do is I check microwaves for microwave leakage. Why is that important? Because as people peek into their microwave to see if things are cooking and keep peeking in and out, if it's leaking too much microwaves, you're cooking your lens and you get cataracts. There are other areas that I do that other inspectors don't do. That's why my inspections are well beyond the standards required for the minimum for the state of Illinois. Fun fact, I enjoy going to flight simulators. I just finished a couple of weeks ago, 2 hours in another flight simulator for a 737. I can almost fly one. And those are things I enjoy doing. Also, my grandson has been living with us for almost a year at 17. And I'll tell you, that's a real challenge when you haven't had a teenager in the house for a while and all of a sudden you have one.
I'll bet.
Thomas?
Yes. Sorry, I had to take somebody had their iPhone hacked, but I think it was a false hack, so we figured it out. But hey, Thomas Guard, worry-free IT at a fixed monthly rate. What makes me unique is you call, you get me. And I hear that pretty often now. People, even larger businesses will say you call and you'll get someone. Well, getting someone is not the same as when you call and get the owner. Fun fact, I've been working on a backyard project to re-roof a section of the house, and I'm relearning a lot about roofing. And the fun fact is, if you try to cut a roofing tile when it's 40 degrees out, it's like cutting super thick wood. If you wait till it's 70 or 80 degrees out, it cuts like butter. Thomas Godfrey, Thomas Guard. Thanks.
Bet. Bruce, good morning.
Morning. Bruce from Blue Sky Video. Show yesterday included Angela Denton. If you remember, we talked about social media and building real business using social media. I have a weekly show talking to business leaders in the areas of sales, marketing, and finance every Thursday. I'm growing my YouTube channel to 1,000 this year. Right now I'm at 800. So looking for subscribers and who are looking for value of original content. Bruce, Blue Sky Video.
Thanks, Bruce. Dr. Mike?
Dr. Mike, Integral Medical and Rehabilitation. We're a medical physical therapy, chiropractic, and acupuncture office here in Vernon Hills. We are necessary for movement, innovative, and wellness. Fun fact about myself, I love to backpack. I am a leather tramp. I love to hike around forests and lakes and all sorts of places. So much so that I've actually hiked a good part of the Appalachian Trail surrounding Gatlinburg. And I do have a trail name.
Good.
That's all.
Joe, good morning. And Joe, you want to take
What's your trail name?
and talk a little bit about what we were walking on last week?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still waiting to hear Mike's trail name.
It's Papa Bear.
Papa Bear, all right.
Papa Bear. I'm the guy on the forest floor just taking care of everybody, making sure everybody's safe.
Yeah, sure. Great. Okay, good morning. Show me the money. We've been actually partnering with our GLMV Chamber of Commerce to offer cost savings to businesses. So we have a website for people to register themselves, and we will provide a free analysis of where you're overpaying. So we take your general ledger and we bounce that against a $6 trillion lake of data to find out what services you're overpaying for. And of course, we can exclude things like Thomas Guard or some of our other friends. We can exclude them from the analysis. That's fine if you want to do that. But yeah, we're examining 60 lines, to 60 different expense lines for the business. And we can do this for businesses down to about $500,000 of revenue. So contact Scott or I. We'll give you the website if you want to sign up for it, or if you want to pass it on, that'd be great as well.
Put it in
So
the chat, Joe.
what's that?
Put it in the chat.
In the chat. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Something unique about myself, or that people don't know too much. Actually, I told a couple of you guys I have a Pepsi machine on my back porch, which doesn't have any soda in it. But and it causes my wife and I, while we're working in the yard, to take a break now and again, sit on the porch and
Gotta do it.
refresh ourselves. So
Gotta do it.
all right, so that's it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, I think all of you have met Mitch at one time or another in some of the sessions that we've done, and we rely on Mitch a lot for information on what's going on with the SBDC and entrepreneurs, how he can help entrepreneurs. He's got some great programs that are out there right now that don't cost businesses anything to be enrolled in. So we decided that we'd kind of have Mitch come back on a quarterly basis and talk about what's going on. You know, he works a lot with the SBA and some of those other agencies as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Mitch, and welcome, Mitch. Glad you're with us today.
Okay, thanks a lot, Scott. And can you give me co-host privileges so I can share my screen? And while he's doing that, I'll just say good morning again, everybody. See quite a few familiar faces. As Scott said, I'm coming back periodically just to remind everybody of all the things that we have at the SBDC, which is the Small Business Development Center, and ITC. Sometimes I forget to say that. We have Small Business Development and International Trade Center. And so we know that businesses, even though things are, as Scott indicated, starting to open up, and there's some light at the end of on the horizon, and you know, in some cases, things are going better for businesses. There still are a number of challenges out there. You and your businesses may be experiencing those as well. And so what I like to do is just talk briefly about some of the things we're doing, and certainly offer them to you, but also ask that you just tell other people about what's going on, because frankly, getting the word out about these programs and services is probably one of the most challenging things we're faced with. We have a lot of good things, but not a lot of people know that they're out there. We do a lot of marketing and social media, and we're even doing radio spots starting next week. So we're doing our best to get the word out, but it's still challenging. So please do what you can to pass the word. And I'll just mention this so I don't forget. In a little bit, one of the things I'm going to talk about in the presentation is a business resource connectivity tool called BizHub that we have launched earlier this year. And I know some of you who are with us today are already on there, but if you're not, like Joe, I was thinking about you. I don't know if you're on there or not, but it would be beneficial to you, I think, based upon what you do for businesses. It's a no-cost resource, a digital platform that enables businesses to check out all the business resource providers in Lake County. And so I just wanted to say that before I forgot about it. I'll talk more about it in just a minute here. So let me.
It's set up, you can share.
Okay, yep. I'm trying to get my slides up.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so because there's a lot of familiar faces here, I'm going to move rather quickly through some of the upfront stuff that I normally take a little more time on when I'm with a new group. But I just real quickly want to reiterate what our mission is and how we accomplish that mission. It's economic development through entrepreneurship. Basically, we start the Small Business Development and International Trade Center, helps anybody who wants to start or grow a small business. And we think if we're successful at that, we're helping to create jobs and increase the tax base and make Lake County a place that people want to live, work, and play in. And basically, we do it by inspiring, educating, and connecting. And I'll get into all three of those a little bit more in just a bit. A lot of times people ask, what are the factors for success? And there are a lot of them, but I've focused on 6 here. And you'll see as we start talking about the programs and services that we offer, that they are intended to support these 6 areas. And another way of looking at it is, if you're not doing these things well, you're more likely to not succeed. And so our programs and services are hopefully going to prevent that from happening in the businesses that we try to help. And so just briefly, business planning is important, and it can be a very stifling and confusing thing for a lot of businesses to figure out how they can put a plan together to, for example, introduce a new product or service offering, or approach a new target market. And we have now an abbreviated process called Business Model Canvas that some of you may have heard of. And we're really pouring a lot into that model because it's simple and it's impactful. And we have training programs and advisors who can help with that. Customer needs is the second one. There are studies that show that about 42% of business failures have to do with not validating the connection between the product or service that a business intends to offer and the target market that they want to offer it to. So there's not a good product market fit. Somewhere around 42% of business failures are associated with that. I myself, I was an entrepreneur, small business owner, operator for 17 years, and I made that mistake several times. Just building a lot of assumptions into a product or a service offering, and then spending time and money on it, only to come to find out that there really wasn't the need that I thought was there. So there is work to be done before you start spending money and time to really validate that there's an actual need out there. And so we do some things to help with that. Customer differentiation is the third one. Not only do you have to serve a need, but you have to figure out how you're going to be different, what value you're going to add that's different than the competitors that you have around you. And we do a lot in the area of marketing and, product and service placement and things like that I think help in that area. Marketing and sales, obviously, for most folks, and I just admitted at the beginning of this discussion that's one of our biggest challenges, is getting the word out, marketing and promoting what we do. And it is both an art and a science, and not a natural skill set for a lot of people, myself included. Thankfully, those are learnable skills. You can learn how to be a good marketer and a good salesperson. And so we do quite a lot of work in that area. Capital and cash flow. Takes money to make money, right? If you want to start a business, you have to figure out what that's going to cost and find that money. If you want to maintain a business, you have to have good cash flow. We have plenty of examples of small businesses right here in Lake County whose businesses are very cyclic in nature or seasonal, and cash flow is a big problem. And not everybody is, expert at managing that. And we have advisors who are very good at that and can help. And then the last one's management. And the point there is that not only do you need somebody who can work in the business, in other words, to provide the product or service, but you also need, owner operators, entrepreneurs who can work on the business, meaning innovate and continually improve and get good at working all the requirements of running the business, not just the provision of the product or service. There's a lot of other things. And actually, if you just look at the previous 5 things that I just got done talking about, there's some examples right there of other things that need to be worked on. So what I want to do now is just briefly talk about some of the things we have to offer. And I offer it to all of you, and I offer it to anybody who who might benefit from these services. And basically there's 3 categories. The first one's advising, the second one is training, and the third one is tools. And I'm going to talk about each one of those briefly. I'm not going to read the bullet list to you. You can read it yourself, but it's just intended to reflect the breadth and depth of expertise that we have in our advising cadre right now. We have 9 advisors, all of whom have different levels and areas of expertise that is reflected on the page. But one of the newer things that I wanted to focus on for just a minute is this very top bullet here that says detailed business health assessment. So we have a new process in place and a new little cadre of advisors that can sit down with an owner and do a needs assessment, or, you know, a health assessment, I guess is what I'm calling it here, that looks at these these 6 areas on the right. The health of the financial aspect of your business, the health of the marketing and sales aspect of your business, the employee or team or staff development, however you want to call it, aspect of your business, the business environment in which you operate. You know, is it a very regulated environment? Are there, you know, if you look right now, if you're in the restaurant industry, or during COVID anyway, there were some real challenges with that. So what is the environment? And then what are the business's current priorities, and are those the right priorities? And so we kind of, we have the capability to start out doing an assessment before we jump into assigning solutions. And I think that that's a very important thing, because a lot of times, I think, and again, speaking from personal experience, business owners, they kind of get centered in on an area that they think is problematic, and they may be right, but there oftentimes are other things going on in the business that contribute to the problem, you know, that's being experienced. And so it is worthwhile just take a step back and do kind of this detailed assessment in all those areas that I just outlined on the right there, and then start talking about a strategy for improving. And the improvement strategies could be to work on accounting and bookkeeping, or e-commerce opportunities, export opportunities, et cetera, as the you know, the bullets listed on the page here kind of outline. And again, we have advisors who will sit down one-on-one, no cost, for as many times as you want, and work out those issues. So I'm just trying to encourage people to take advantage of that resource, because it's a very powerful one. I know as a business owner, sometimes you get, you know, you're very much alone, or you feel alone, or you feel as if you need to be able to do everything yourself, and you really should be reaching out to those who can help you and taking advantage of expertise, because no matter how hard you try, you can't be everything to everybody, and you don't have an endless amount of time or money, and you just need to be smart. And I think part of being smart is to leverage the help that's around you. So that's what I want to say about advising. Please take advantage of it and encourage others to do the same. And then, you know, if you go back to the first slide, I said we inspire, we educate, and we connect. So the educate part of that is we do a lot of training. We're always doing different programs. And once again, I won't read the bullet list to you, but you can see them there. And a very, I think, broad and in many cases, deep look at these different kinds of business topics. And with the goal of skill building, with the goal of getting business owners capable in a way that they weren't before they walked into this program or they started taking the program. So it is about skill building. It's not just about passing along knowledge and having, you know, discussions about interesting things. We do try and change people's behaviors, frankly. So just highlighting very quickly some of the newer programs that are coming out that I think are going to be a benefit. And again, they're all no cost. I mentioned when I was talking about the factors for success, one of the things I mentioned is that it's important to validate that there's a need out there for the product or service that you offer. And we currently have a program called Venture Validator, and it is a free workshop. I think it's 4 or 5 hours in length, I forget. It's self-paced, and if you're interested, just let me know and I will give you a link, and you can register for it and take it at your own leisure. And here's another one, you know, please pass the word on about this, because what we're doing with this program right now is we're kind of pilot testing it. I've known of this organization, Venture Validator, for quite some time. And I actually know some people in Lake County who have used them. And basically what they do is they will work with you to validate your venture, the product or service that you intend to sell, matching that with the target audience that you intend to sell to. And they basically give you it's kind of like a credit score on a scale of 1 to 10. How good is the match between your product and service and your market, right? And I think they say anything 7 and above is really strong. If it's 7 and below, you've got some work to do. And if it's 5 and below, it's really a pretty tenuous, weak sort of connection that you have. And so they will do that work for you. You can hire them to do it, and they can teach you to do it yourself. And that's what this program is. The Venture Validator program is them teaching you how to validate the product market fit on your own. And like I said, we're pilot testing it. I want to see how well it works, and I'd love for some of you to participate in it and let me know, because if it is a good thing, we'll continue to offer it. I already mentioned Business Model Canvas. It's a newer approach to business planning that I think is effective, and it doesn't cause paralysis by analysis, which if any of you have ever written one of those 30-page business plans knows that that certainly can happen. This is a very practical approach to figuring out what product or service are you actually selling, or should you be selling? Who are you trying to sell it to? How are you going to connect with them? What are you going to charge them or ask to be paid? And many, many other things that is just done in a very concise manner. So that's another program. We just finished one of those in May, and we're going to be scheduling more out in the summer and fall. So keep your eyes open. And before we're done today, I'll show you the link to our website, and all you have to do is go to our training calendar and you can see when these programs are offered. Here's another one that we haven't finalized this yet, but I'm talking with a couple of restaurant consultants who are just very good at optimizing restaurant operations, and in particular right now, coming out of COVID, and hopefully, benefiting, the restaurants will have the opportunity to benefit from this surge that we think is going to happen, because there's this pent up demand for, dining, which is, frankly, it's a high class problem to have, right? But if the restaurants aren't prepared to deal with it, that's going to be a lost opportunity. And as Scott rightly said earlier on, there's still a lot of businesses out there who cannot find employees, even though unemployment is down. Restaurants in particular and service businesses are struggling to get the employees they need, which unfortunately could prevent them from being able to take advantage of the opportunities that are hopefully going to come pretty quickly here. And so we're going to put together some kind of program. I don't know. I think it's probably going to be a combination of a discussion forum and some training, but we're still working that out. So let's keep our eyes on that, and I'll tell you more as it develops. We've had for years now this foundational workshop called Starting Your Business in Illinois. It's like Entrepreneurship 101. It's an hour to an hour and 15 minutes just talking about everything you need to do to start a business. And we're doing it in Spanish for the first time. We have a Spanish language facilitator who will be doing it once a month between now and the end of the year. So I just wanted to point that out. And then we also we're planning in probably the fall, probably September timeframe, to do Entrepreneur Academy. And those of you who've been around for a while might remember this. It's a program that we put on in 2019 and actually finished up, I think, in September, October of 2019. And we were going to do it again in 2020, but with coronavirus, it just didn't make any sense. It's kind of like boot camp for entrepreneurs. It's 30 hours of instruction, face-to-face. The first one's face-to-face. The next one we do might be some combination of face-to-face and in person. We're still working that out, or it could be virtual too. But it's 30 hours of instruction, and the outcome of it is a good, solid business plan. And the target audience is people who've not yet started a business, or they're within, I'll say, 2 years of having started their business, and just want to polish their approach as an entrepreneur. So those are some of the programs we have going on, coming up in particular. Real quickly, I'll mention the tools that I talked about earlier that everyone can use at no cost. The first one's called IBIS World, which is an industry business research tool, an industry research tool that can provide information about competitive landscape, revenue potential, like what operational costs you can expect in a business like that, and many, many other things. All you need to do is ask us what industry you're interested in, and we'll run your report. Then we've got BizHub. I made mention of that earlier. It's no cost. We paid for it with CARES Act money. And basically it enables, as you can see on the right here, for business resource providers such as yourselves and businesses to connect and work together. It's a platform that you can basically say, hey, I'm here and here's what I do and I'd love to work with you. And it's a database in that a business can go into this system and, for example, they could type in, commercial real estate in Mundelein, and up will come the commercial real estate providers, or they can type in, signage requirements or signage restrictions, and up will come the municipal economic development person who can tell them what the signage restrictions are, that kind of thing. So many resources, chamber events, and events from libraries, and certainly the Small Business Development Center are listed on there. We can share stories. We've got a knowledge portal with white papers, and we don't have podcasts yet, but we probably will at some point here. So great connectivity resource, and I'm trying to encourage the growth of it, because this system, like any other computer system, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? If you don't have valuable resources in there, then people aren't going to use it and it's going to be worthless. So I'm trying to encourage people to get into BizHub. And so the URL is listed at the bottom there. And if you just go to our SBDC website, you'll see the BizHub logo. You click on it and you fill out a profile. And that's basically how that works. And then the last one I'll mention is our training platform that any business can use. The term learning management system is often used to describe these complex computer supported platforms that larger businesses use to manage employee training and development and performance improvements, and even performance reviews and things like that. Small businesses don't normally have access to something like that because they are pretty expensive. Well, we purchased a system, and now and it's all curated and managed, and we're making it available to any small business. So if you are up to 500 employees, you can get this at no cost for a year, and you can play with it, and you can benefit from all the features of it, which mainly includes that you can assess the skills of your employees, and you can put together development plans for them based upon the outcomes of that skill assessment. And you can identify and launch training and coaching and self-development activities right from this platform. So it's a very comprehensive platform. All the content that's on there is curated. It's high quality, low cost. Right now, a lot of it's free because it's paid for with CARES Act money. So the subscription is 1 year, no cost subscription. And at the end of the year, businesses just decide on their own if they want to continue on with the subscription. And if they don't, they still have access to the training that's on TAD. So the subscription offers you other benefits like reporting and some data analysis and things like that you wouldn't get if you weren't a subscriber. But everybody will still always have access to the training that we deliver from this platform. And by the way, everything we do right now and going forward, all the training that we provide is going to be delivered on this platform because we believe in it, and it's just a good, solid thing for us to be using. So after that first year is up, if you decide to continue on with a subscription, it's on the order. The cost is on the order of $1 per year per employee. So if you have 20 employees in your business, we're talking, somewhere on the order of $200. I said $1 per year, $1 per month per employee. So we're talking about, what is that, $240 if you have 20 people in your business. So it's very cost effective, and we hope that people will, and small businesses will find a use for it, because if you've ever tried to, on your own, determine what skills your employees need, and then find a good quality training program to provide those skills, and then have it delivered I mean, it takes time and it takes management, and basically we do all that. We do all that. So think about, if you're not already using that platform, think about using it and also tell others about it.
Mitch, didn't you mention before that that TAD was something that was basically only available to large corporations before?
Yeah. And the main reason is because it costs a lot of money to buy a system like that. But we bought it, and it was like a leveraged purchase, right? We have the system, and we are, because of CARES Act, we are able to provide no cost subscriptions to this system for an entire year. But again, even after that year is over with, you can choose to use it or not to use it. And if you choose to use it, it's very inexpensive. $240 a year for 20 or less employees. And obviously, you know, if you have 500 employees, it's going to be more expensive, but it's still, comparatively speaking, very cost effective. So normally only the really large, you know, the Abbott and Baxter and Granger and Walgreens, and I tended to focus a lot on pharmaceuticals there, but the big businesses normally have something like this because they know it's effective. Small businesses can't afford it until now. So I'll stop there for a moment, and I'm actually going to stop sharing, and let's just kind of talk about what else you have going on or you see going on that we should be thinking about addressing. And when I say we, I'm talking about the Small Business Development and International Trade Center. So any questions or comments or advice?
No, I think it's, you know, I know we've been keeping, you know, putting it out on our e-blast that these programs are available, and I'm hoping that we've had people that have taken advantage of it. But I'll tell you, it's as we unfold in this pandemic in the next few months, it's going to be a different world out there. I mean, everything's going to be kind of a hybrid. I mean, people are going to be doing a lot of remote working still. You know, I can't see these office buildings filling up real fast. I know a lot of companies haven't even looked at it until the end of the year. But as business rolls out, these resources are there to help you. And Mitch, you know, is very, very good with his time, and the people that work under Mitch are great at what they do, and take advantage of it, because it's, you know, I always say get over yourself on some things like this, because if you're having a hard time putting programs together or figuring out what you need to do, you need to go to resources like the SBDC. It's there for you. So I hope that you guys are taking advantage of it and passing the word on, as Mitch has asked, to your colleagues as well.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Hi, Mitch. James Smith.
Yep.
I'm signing up. I'm going to sign up for the Biz Hub and learn about it. I presented it to the owner of my company yesterday for the first
Oh, good.
time.
Thank
I've been
you.
kind of crazy, but we've got commercial brokers within our office, and we're one of the busiest companies in Lake County for real estate. So I'm going to learn more about it, and then I can explain it to him, so that have him sign up to it.
Perfect. And let me know if you have questions, okay?
I will. Thank you.
We have, one of the things you'll find out when you start exploring the website is if you're confused about something, there's a YouTube video to tell you how to do it. It's got a whole big variety of little video vignettes on how to set up or edit a profile and add a resource and all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of support provided with the platform.
You know, Bruce, this would be maybe Mitch would be a good interview for you to do on your show.
Actually, I've got Michael McMahon next week.
Oh, good.
So actually, I've got a 9 o'clock pre-interview with him right after this. But yeah, so yeah, Mitch, be good, so we can talk.
Yeah, for sure. And Bruce already has a presence on platform, on BizHub rather.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's good.
And I used to teach classes through the SBDC.
He sure did. Yep. And Ray, I sent you an email wherever you're at. There you are. Ray, I sent you an email. Check it out and get back to me. I need you.
Mitch, what was the website?
Yeah, let me share again. Hang on.
Yeah, I did leave you a message, Mitch.
Oh, did you? Okay. I haven't looked yet this morning. So there's the website up in the upper left-hand corner. And there's the URL to the BizHub link. And if you're interested in TAD, and I'll make sure, I'll send this out to Scott. And
Okay. We can get it up. Yep.
yeah, you can have the whole presentation and the contact information for all the different things. But if you just go to this right here, www.clc.illinois.edu/SBDC-ITC, that's the main website, and TAD and BizHub and everything are talked about on there. All right. Thank you all. Appreciate your time. I'll be
Absolutely,
back in a
Mitch.
couple of months. We'll do another update and let you know what's changed from our end, okay?
No, I appreciate it very much. Anybody got any other questions for Mitch?
It's just amazing how much is available for such a low cost or even free.
Oh, yeah. It's unbelievable.
It
Yeah.
is. We're really fortunate, you know, I mean, if there's a bright spot in this whole messy thing that we've been in for the last year, it's that there's a little more money out there for things like this. And it is unbelievable. And we want people to take advantage of it.
Mhm.
So help me get the word out, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Thank you all.
We'll keep pushing it on our end.
Yep.
So absolutely. So Brian, how are you?
Doing well, sorry.
It's all right. What's going on? What are you seeing out there?
I don't think you want to know what I
No,
see.
that's true. No, from a business perspective, how's things been?
Well, nature of our business, it's kind of up and down. But that was pre-pandemic. It was the same sort of thing. Some weeks will be crazy busy, and then some weeks we're waiting for the phone to ring. It's just the way things go.
Well, I think, as I said before, we got to be cognizant that as things open up, things are going to be different. And I'm just want to know, you know, I'll ask a couple of you guys what you're planning on doing, because it's just it's important that you're thinking ahead, because it is going to be a different business world going forward, because of there's still be a lot of people working remotely and those types of things. And yeah, what are you finding when you do your inspections? Are you are people more willing to let you in? Are they easier to work with than they have been in the last 15 months?
I haven't seen too much difference. People are always willing to let us in to do the inspection. The only difference is now, as we're getting out of the pandemic, people are now able to start following me around a little bit more. Prior to that, during the pandemic, I had to have them wait somewhere else in another room or outside or something. But my business is I have to be on site. Haven't figured out how to do an inspection virtually. So
Get a drone.
yeah, well, the drone helps for the roofs, but it doesn't help on the
Yeah,
inside.
I know.
So I don't see a whole lot of difference. The biggest problem we're having is a lack of inventory out there for people to buy. And as a result, you're getting multiple offers on single homes, and there's multiple inspectors for single homes, and only one of us is going to be picked. So that's the biggest issue right now. I'm seeing some inspectors starting to commoditize their services. They may have had a lot of experience, but because business is slow, they're starting to cut costs or cut prices to undercut their competitors. And there's some prices that these guys are charging. I can't even make any money. They're just doing it to get the business. And that will eventually weed out some of the newer inspectors who are doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure that, the inventory is a huge problem. There's
Right.
not enough houses out there, that's for sure.
Well, one of the things inspectors don't do very well is they don't know their costs, and they don't know their numbers. When I was in consulting, I had to show people how to watch their numbers and very simply figure out, and this is prior to a lot of software being available, so I used Excel, but figure out how to watch their numbers and how to watch their costs and what their ROIs were for their different products or different services. And right now you talk to an inspector about his ROI on different services, they don't know.
No.
That's fine with me because I'll go out of business and it's more for me.
That's where that validation piece comes in handy.
That's right.
James, what do you find in with your clients at Damp Snow?
Is in regards to what?
What are you hearing from when you talk to your clients? Are they optimistic? Are they making changes? How they see the next several 12 to 24 months? Are you hearing much from them at all?
Yeah, a lot of my clients, some of them are in the entertainment business, and obviously they're down.
Yeah.
People aren't going there, as much. Bouncy house type places, that sort of thing. They're definitely struggling. I've seen their income cut in half at least, and you're talking about 600,000 down to 300, and so it's tough. Obviously they're trying to stick with it and hang in there. A lot of my other clients, they weren't really that affected, by the whole pandemic. Some of them even thrived. So I think it just kind of depends on, what kind of business you have. If you have a lot of traffic coming through, obviously you're not having the traffic come through at this time. So, that's the big things I'm seeing. Anybody that's doing things online, mostly, they're doing great still. So.
That's good. It's good to hear. I think if these guys, kind of thinking out of the box a little bit and making adjustments to their business plans, they're going to be okay. I look at when we had Kenny on from Main Street Social a couple weeks ago. Restaurant businesses in general were drastically affected. They pulled through their 2020 year being at 80% of what they were in 2019, which is fantastic. But a lot of them can't say that, and a lot of them are still struggling, and a lot of them can't find employees. It's really difficult. Dr. Mike, what are you finding out with your clientele? Are you doing? Is it starting to pick up? Or I know it probably hasn't slowed down too much, but has there been many changes in the way that you're approaching your patients?
Honestly, we've kind of maintained a little bit through this. As a new business, you always like to see growth, but this has definitely been a hurdle, I think, for everyone, is just continuing through COVID. I think the unique aspect of my business is I'm seeing how this is affecting the day-to-day, those that maybe have small businesses or don't. Definitely hear a lot of stories that are tough to hear, and I think there's people out there hurting and just want this over. So I know the economy is ramping up, and I know everybody's ready and willing to go back and wants that more than anything, just to have some semblance of normalcy. And I think we'll see that here in the next couple months. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are really waiting for that.
Todd, what are you seeing with your client base? Anything change much? You just muted yourself.
I'm seeing it's interesting. I look a lot into the psychology of the investor. No, it's just the psychology of the client, what is norm and what's not. And I'm starting to see a few more people come into the office. I had a person 2 weeks ago that showed up for a phone interview, for a phone appointment. So I was able to, I still remember how to meet with people, although I did have to think, how do we do this? And I looked to see what they're kind of judge the barometer, so to speak, if they're wearing a mask or not. And I've had a couple people come in, so I'm like 50-50. I do not wear a mask, but I think I'm going to continue being virtual because I'm so much more efficient. As inefficient as I am, I'm so much more efficient just being able to talk to more people in a week. And although I don't have all the miles to write off on my taxes, I can offset that with greater income by not driving a half hour to see people, 20 minutes. So I'm going to stick with that route. And fortunately, we're all trained over the last year, so it's not an anomaly like it was a year ago. So I'm going to continue on with that path there.
That's good. Well, it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a little different, but I'm certainly happy that we're getting out of this thing, there's just hope that nothing mutates and comes back to bite us, but, I think, as more and more people are vaccinated as we go forward, it's gonna be, people are gonna be more comfortable with it, and the fact that they can get out and, with the weather is good, people are gonna be out because they know they can be outdoors, and it's gonna give everybody, I think it's gonna give our businesses a shot in the arm, but I just want you guys all to be, ready for it, and if you're making adjustments, take a look at the 10 little points that I sent on the agenda, because I think they're useful for you to help you protect your business and make your business better going forward. So, Carol, what do we got going on?
Oh, wow, we have so much going on. It's a jam in June at the Chamber, GLMV Jam in June. So hope to see everybody at all our events that are upcoming. We just had 2 huge ribbon cuttings yesterday. People are really jumping on the ribbon cutting grand opening bandwagon since they haven't done them in quite a while. We've got a couple more coming up next week. We also have our new group called Emerging Leaders Power Hour, which Dr. Mike and Jen are heading up that group. It's kind of a take on our young professionals, rising stars, but I think everyone is welcome. And it's gonna kick off June 8th over at Crossroads at 5 p.m. So hopefully you can register online for that, and you can pay at the door when you get there. It's $10 for appetizers and cash bar. And it'll be fun, networking, cornhole, appetizers, and just a lot of social. So mark that on your calendar. We've already got some signups, so you'll be part of that. Of course, like I said, there's a few more ribbon cuttings coming up next week. I think Kitty Learning Station is one. Engaging Speakers is another one. They're all in your emails, and you'll see them on the calendar. You really, guys, really need to get involved in these things. It's a great way to meet new business owners. They're looking to meet you. They're part of the chamber. They need services, they need products, and they need you to help spread the word and support, their businesses and let other people know that they're there as well. They always do a nice job. They're all very welcoming. And we try to hold them at convenient times, Monday through Thursday, usually around 4 p.m., 4 or 5 p.m. Sometimes they want Saturdays, which is not always convenient, but they still do appreciate, those that can come out for those times. Good news on our golf outing. I just tallied it up, and we are at, drum roll, everyone, drum roll, 100 golfers. So yeah. And we're still waiting on some foursomes to come in. So get your foursome in if you haven't already, or get your individual golf in. Our whole sponsors, I just got another one in this morning. So we're at, I think, only about 1 or 2 left. Yeah. So if you want to be a hole sponsor and sit out on your hole and meet the golfers as they come through, this is your chance. Don't miss out. Let's see what else. Make sure you get all your marketing to us. This program, as well as all our virtual programs, are recorded and live on Facebook. So you are getting a ton of additional exposure if you speak and if you attend. And even if you weren't able to attend, people can still view them. So can't beat that for sure. And then I think that's about it. If you have any questions on anything, please let us know. We're here to assist you.
We're still planning the kind of the mob wow after all,
yeah,
the Main Street Social on the 15th. I'm just working out the menu with Duke, so we're going to have that. It'll be a live event. We'll use our tent in the back. We've got 2 speakers coming in for that as well. So a lot of good things. And we had a meeting with the Adler Art Center yesterday. We partner with them on the Festival of the Arts, which will be the first weekend in August. I think it's 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th. That's a big event in Cook Park in downtown Libertyville. We're going to proceed like we did 2 years ago. So we'll have sponsors on the street. We'll have a beer garden. We're going to have entertainment on Saturday and Sunday all day till 9 o'clock on Saturday till 5 o'clock on Sunday. So we are going to form a committee for that. So if anybody's interested in being a part of it, it's a very fun event. We've got, I think Amy told me yesterday, they've got 50 artists already lined up for the park, which they were trying to keep it about 45, but they felt that, you know, with the state on allowing us to do more, we're going to be okay with 50. But I think she's going to keep it at 50 unless there's a, you know, somebody's just begging to get in, whatever she's going to do. But she'll make that decision as we go along. But that's a great event, and it draws. Typically, the last 2 years ago, drew over 9,000 people over the weekend. So it's great exposure. If you want to be a sponsor, if you want to be a part of it, you know, just let me know. We'll put you on the committee for it. So, and Todd had to get off. He had a doctor's appointment, but he wanted me to remind you that today is D-Day, in which we all remember 1945. So it's an important note in our history. So, but before I go, I've got a quick little quote for you. So it's, you are never too old to set another goal or dream a new dream. So you guys, if you need anything, let us know. We're here to help. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend. It's going to be a nice hot summer weekend. So enjoy the weather. Mitch, again, thanks very much for being with us. And we'll see all of you guys soon. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Scott,